Hello, everyone. Today's presentation is the continuation of what we started last week, which is stakeholders management. In the course of this presentation, we will be looking through the definition of the key terms, then the stakeholder management process, and we will also be looking at the case study using Master Student of Project Management. We will be linking the case study through the four processes of identification, analyze interest, and that has to do with interest stroke power grid of stakeholder. We'll also look at the plan process and how the stakeholder can be monitored, and also some of references for your studies. At the end of it, if there are any questions, then you will have the opportunity to ask. Who are stakeholders, or who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is a person or group that is affected by or interested in your project, your program, or portfolio. They can be impacted by your project, and they can also impact the success of a project. In other words, stakeholder management is the process of identifying the stakeholders, their interest, their influence, and their potential impact on the successful completion of the project. Now, there are four processes that are involved in managing the stakeholders. First one is identification. In identification, we are concerned with all the documentations of identifying who the stakeholders are. Who are they? After that, it will now be analysis. Analysis has to do with identifying their interest, their power, their level of involvement. Then we can now plan our responses and the continuous monitoring of their engagement. If we now take it from the first process, which is identification, let's consider a case study using you as a master student of project management. Who are your stakeholders? We can pick from RGU as the university. RGU, without issuing you a letter of admission, you will not be a student of the school. Definitely, RGU is your stakeholder. The next on the list of the stakeholders are your lecturers. They are there to ensure that you have the appropriate skills required for effectiveness in your study. And at the end of it all, you will be assessed formatively and summatively. This is for your lecturer to be confident that yes, you've actually acquired the necessary skill. The next is Immigration Office, also known as Home Office. They are also your stakeholder. If you're not issued your CAS, for example, you will not have the opportunity to be a student in UK. On the list as well of your stakeholders are your students, your classmates. If you are given project or you are given group work and they are nonchalant, no matter how fervent you are, it might have a bit of impact on your work, and on and on and on like that. Now how can we, analyze the interest and the power of these stakeholders that we're discussing? We have to look at the interest stroke power grid. For instance, we can examine the interest and the level of power. Do they have low interest or high interest? Those with low interest stroke high power, you need to keep them satisfied. You can see UK government falls under that category. Those with high interest and low power, RGU is on the list for that. They are the key players. They are the key player to your continuous involvement in your academics. So, we have low interest and low power stakeholders. We just need to continue to monitor their involvement. And the last on the list is those with high interest and low power. An example of that is your fellow students in this school. You need to keep them informed, and you need to ensure that yes, you are doing according to plan based on the work or assignment given in the class. How can this stakeholder management be effective? As a student in RGU, you need to develop a plan, and this is a typical plan for you to evaluate, to consider. In this plan now, we have the list of stakeholders, just few of them. We are going to consider their interest, how high, how low, and the means of communicating with them to ensure effectiveness of your engagement with them and their engagement with you. Then the frequency of communication and the type of information that is being disseminated. At the end of it, who will be responsible for the task? So we can see from the slide, the stakeholders that have been selected for this activity. We have the RGU, UK government, and the landlords. For instance, RGU have high interest in your education, and the means of communicating with them is face-to-face or email. The frequency of the communication is weekly or monthly. What are the types of information that is required from you to them? This includes your regular attendance, your coursework, and your dissertation. Who is responsible for all this? Your course leader. Monitor stakeholder. The process of managing stakeholders is a continuous process and not a one-off process. It is not static. This is because identified stakeholders could change over the course of the project. It is imperative for continuous monitoring of the stakeholders. All in all, stakeholders are very, very important. The management of their engagement is also very important on the project. A well-managed stakeholder will ensure successful completion of the project, even if the project is not as good as it should be. Whereas a very high-profile project with good intention but poor stakeholders management may not have successful outcome. These are additional resources that you can explore at your own free time. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question, please feel free to send an email to me, and I will definitely respond to you accordingly. See you in the next class. Thank you, and bye for now.